Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though.
George Morgan here and Jack Pinat. All the lights are currently lit here on track. And it is go, go, go! Donoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass with the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count down Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Borman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to PSGL once again for a brand new season of PSGL E-Series. Season 4, we're here tonight for the qualifiers for what could be, Josh, possibly the best grid we've ever experienced in E-Series. I mean, we'll give them a clue soon of who we got signed up, but we just so you know, we've got 7 Pro Series teams joining us this season.
Yeah, and one newcomer to that as well, which I'm personally very excited for. But overall, it's looking like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic grid. But that, of course, only means there's 3 places up for grabs in this qualifying. It's going to be so tight, so challenging. We are currently going through a couple, not necessarily going to say it's to do with the crowd service going out this morning, but a couple issues trying to get Steam up and running. But don't expect your screen to go all blue and end up throwing up a bunch of errors like we were down at Mercedes garage earlier today. you're still here, you're still with us,
Yeah.
and it's looking like it's going to be an absolute cracking start here. And of course, splitting it up into 3 groups for this qualifying stage, starting out with Group A, then B, then C. You know the alphabet, but thankfully only the 3 to get through. But around Qatar, now, as far as qualifying goes, it might just be one of the best places you can do a qualifier.
Definitely, it's a difficult track. You know, you go a little bit wide, you get a track invalidation, and also the grip isn't all high, so you've got to really, you've got to know how to drive this circuit to be quick, which is why it's going to be such a brilliant track to take our qualifying for E Series 2. But we'll have a look at the teams in Group A. We're going to get underway in about 2 or 3 minutes time. Gone.
Okay.
Right, we got audio. We've
No,
got
no,
audio.
you take your time. You take your time. Are you sure we've got audio now?
Josh, take us through, please.
Right. Exactly what Nathan did. But we do have a tandem racing team. You've got a little bit more insight on the big boss man running it behind the scenes there, but I've got the insight of the drivers here. Of course, Daniele Peroni, Valentino Labella striking it out here in Group A for us in the qualifying. Looking like a very solid lineup. You already mentioned they're looking like one of the favourites to go through, but of course, with 3 spots, all it could potentially take is a slight overslip on, maybe turn 6. I'm going to keep an eye out for that one just to make sure there's no twitchy movements. Because all it takes is 1 lap invalidation, and then you're saying goodbye to your chances of qualifying here for Season 4. But they're not alone. Team Shazoo, another very established team, very solid, had a couple very surprising races, didn't they? Really came through, chucked something different into the mix, and was able to get it to work out brilliantly. ABS Racing Team, again, no strangers to the scene. They're here looking to try and make their stamp in towards that 10-team qualifying. It's going to be so tight. But then, of course, we do have a couple newer teams joining it. Everseo, Sierra, and Virtual Racing Academy. Interesting to see what they're going to be able to bring to the team. I'm expecting something a little different, maybe a little fruity. But nevertheless, it's certainly going to be a challenge for them. Even if they don't qualify, just having that experience of racing against the drivers who will be able to, push the upper bounds of the F2s, the F3s. It's going to be an experience for them and a learning opportunity, which is something that we're all going to have to sit back and sort of think about in the long term, how it's going to benefit them to progress themselves slightly further on.
Of course. And well, we're going to look at Group 2 and Group 3 a little later on once we, of course, get to those groups. So we'll move back over.
B and C. We don't do numbers here. We're scared of numbers.
There we are. Well,
we're
scared.
It's
my own fault because I labelled them as 2 and 3. So B and C, there we are. Group B and C, we'll talk through them later. We'll come back to the intermission screen, Josh, and we'll now talk through the 7 teams, the 7 esports teams which are taking part. And looking at that list, do you think, well, we're pretty much close to F1 esports at this rate, or F1 sim racing at this rate.
Genuinely, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it?
It is. Looking at it now.
Oh, mate, honestly, as far as it came back from E-Series back in Season 1, had a couple. Season 2, opened the door for a couple more. Season 3, somehow managed to get an absolutely fantastic roster all the way through, and then this season it's just blown it all out of the water, hasn't it, mate? It's looking so strong.
It has indeed. So we'll talk through them. So of course we got our 2-time champions Ferrari returning. Season 3, they wasn't looking like they was going to win it, but they did in the end. Season 2, they smashed it out the park. We have Williams Esports, yet again, a team that's been with us through the past 3 seasons. They're also our Season 1 champion. Race Clutch, yet again, making their return for their 4th season alongside R8G. But we've got 3 newcomers. The first one being Aston Martin Esports. That's
Strong.
very strong. Then we have McLaren Shadow joining in as the 6th team.
Again,
and
strong.
The 7th team. You ready, Josh?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Red Bull Sim Racing. Red Bull Sim Racing are joining PSGL E-Series to make that 7 teams taking part this season. Just look, I've got that list in front of me now with all my teams, and you read it and you think, oh, there's a couple names missed off, but apart from that, you're looking at the F1 Sim Racing grid.
It's just a joke, really, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic level of quality. And the fact that 3 community teams are going to have to try and battle and somewhat maybe even struggle to try and grab a couple points here or there. But imagine how much of a bolster that would be to that one community team if they were able to, let's say, topple an Aston Martin, topple a Red Lion, maybe even try and challenge McLaren Shadow, a Williams, maybe even try and rock the boat again with Ferrari, because we know from last season they didn't get off to a great start. If they don't get off to a good start this season, they can very easily find themselves trying to struggle and fight through with the community teams. It's all going to be about consistency and being able to deliver the points at a certain amount of time. But I feel like there is something we should address here. Of course, Oscar's already pointed out, new room for me. I'm no longer in uni accommodation. I'm in my own place. And that is because I've been fortunate enough to get a brilliant job alongside the guys at Red Bull Sim Racing. So no biased commentary from this point. I'm holding my hands up. I'm going to call it straight down the middle as best I can. But I do just want everyone to be aware that that is a thing. So if I end up getting passionate, it's just passion. It's not biasy. It's just passion.
Of course. And I'll be watching through all the streams, Josh. And every time you say something you shouldn't do, I'll bring you up for it.
Yeah,
so
and you're
we'll
also
see.
a Red Bull fan as well, so like...
Well, I'm not a fan of anyone in E-Series, Josh. Let's just put it that way. There's another 6 teams. I can't be a fan of anyone. And let's be honest, I'm a fan of Max. Max doesn't race in E-Series, so...
You're a fan of Dylan Moran. Everyone's a fan of Dylan Moran.
Well, to an extent, yes.
Come on. Do I need to remind you about the time he went on Inters in full wet around Monaco?
No, wasn't it hards?
No. It was raining. It was absolutely chucking it down water. Chucked it on Inters and went from last to P8 in 2 laps. Joke.
Yeah, and he won.
Joke of a man.
He won the race, didn't he? I remember there was a different series. He got second from a full wet, but
he did. Yeah, he did again.
Josh,
but
we've shown them Group A. We've shown them the track for qualifiers, and we've shown them the teams that are taking part this season already confirmed. But I think you should talk us through the calendar.
Oh, mate, it's looking like a very juicy and a very beautiful calendar, I must say. Again, a lot of traditional circuits here, so there is a little bit of wiggle room to play with for a couple of these drivers. But again, you're pulling up the traditional circuits, which we quite often see around, the league racing, the likes of Saudi Arabia, Texas. Monaco making another return to E-Series, which I'm very glad to see. Yeah. Hopefully, Dylan Moran's going to be able to compete with that, because I want to see what he's going to be able to cook up. And we've got Canada a day after my birthday, and I cannot wait to see what's going to be cooking there, because we know how powerful Slipstream can be. Yeah. A patch is apparently coming out for tomorrow to try and rebalance a couple slipstreaming things. I saw that on Twitter earlier, but you never know at the end of the day. It could be a bit fruity. Austria, again, another fantastic circuit where track limits come into play. The new Spa, looking fantastic. Imola, certainly a very classic, great racing track. Can cause some difficult moments, especially heading down into turn 2. Then, of course, the likes of Silverstone, Las Vegas, the carnage which happened at Las Vegas last year. Oh my word, last season, it was so good. Not for the drivers involved, but from a spectating point, it was utterly fantastic. Then rounding it out as well with Bahrain. It's, again, another one of those calendars where you just sit there and you look and go, what more could you really want? Nathan, if you could somewhat even maybe interchange a circuit there, what would you try and even interchange any of them for?
Well, I don't think I would. I think it's a perfect calendar, because we've got the mix of tracks which are really good to overtake, really good to race, and we've got tracks such as Imola, which is a little bit more difficult to overtake, and we've got high speed, low speed circuits. This calendar is a mix of all, and it's brilliant for people who who might be an all-rounder. There's some drivers in the scene which are only fast at certain types of circuits, but for drivers that are all-rounders, this is a perfect calendar, because it lets everyone show their skills, and we can also see what drivers are good at different parts of of racing. Some drivers might be good at high-speed circuits, some might be better at low-speed circuits, and we'll see that across the season. But we are now getting ready to head in towards our first qualifying session of the night. We'll move ourselves to the main screen. You should be able to hear us still.
Yeah, well, let's just check
I'm
that one
hoping.
first. Huh? No,
think
you
they
should be
can.
able to. I believe I did witness you do that one. But it'll take a little moment. You'll get a little bit of a black screen, and then we'll be chucked straight in here to the qualifying. And, you know, it's been a little while since I came into the commentary booth, but it is looking absolutely brilliant out there tonight. It's looking like a nice, cool breeze out here in the desert, and I want to see what these drivers are going to be able to chef up for us, because we've got some great names here that we've not already mentioned. The likes of Exafox, Keanu Leotard as well, looking to try and get themselves established and at least trying to get a solid lap time on the board. But I do believe, with things as they are, with the current game state, I do believe... wait, are they not ghosted?
I don't know.
Have we just gone for it?
I think they're ghosted. Well, hopefully they are. I mean, I'm sure that is part of the rules. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see when people start.
Oh no,
getting angry.
they are ghosted. Okay, for a second
Yeah,
there, I
they
was.
are.
Whew, for a second, I thought we was going to be in for a slipstream fest. We might have been watching a race here instead of a qualifying session. But of course, 18 minutes on the clock for them. Get the tyres prepped. Tyre warming, such a crucial part of this year's game. They've got to recycle the temperature. Make sure the tyres don't end up scrubbing off too much, losing the grip, and also keeping the temperature in the tyres, which are different for each and every single compound, ranging from the C5 to the C1s. Thankfully, though, everyone opting to go on a set of soft tyres. No one fiddling about with the intermediates so far, because they know how crucial it's going to be in order to maximise every single lap they get out here.
Of course, and I have to remind everybody there is a 99.9% chance that unfortunately VRA won't qualify. That is because they sent their sign-up in late, and Connor, with his very strict rules, has given them in total 1 second penalty.
Outrageous. Big C in chat, everyone at him and tell him to review the rules. 38 minutes late and they're a whole second behind because of it. Rules are there for a reason, to be quite honest. But as far as strictness goes, you know, it's
Very.
certainly... I don't want to be on the wrong side of Connor, let's just say that much.
Well, we'll go aboard here with Marcus Almedo now, who's just heading his way through the first lap of the E-Series Qualifiers Group A session. And just heading round through in towards turn 4 and then in towards turns 5 and 6. And I've got to say, Josh, this track has had some major changes visually since F123, and I've got to say it somewhat looks like we're in a jungle now, and I believe Qatar's in a desert, so it's a bit of a weird scenery.
This is bloody gorgeous. You cannot tell me it's not. It's like Paul Ricard, but you don't get the epileptic seizure coming along with the blue and red stripes. You've got beautiful mixes, the blues, the reds, the vibrant oranges, the green, the sponsor boards all around the side as well. And don't you worry, those of you who like the PSGL and SRC sponsor boards, they'll be coming at a later date for when we start the season properly. But for now, we're just going to have to enjoy the organic track layout here of Qatar, as we can see him now chucking it through the right handers, the rear end so loose, looking to try and slide it out as much as you can. But you can see the full level of commitment, full throttle, basically throughout the entirety of Sector 3 before coming to this right-hand hairpin, keeping it nice and tight in the exit with a new pit lane on the right-hand side. So hopefully no more incidents in PCF1. You know who I'm talking about. And we've already started out there with a 121.6, immediately topped off there by Valentino Labella with a 120.361. Now, when it comes to PBs, we had a little bit of talking, a little bit of rooting, and a couple of these drivers are squeezing it down even further than that.
As we can see, some more people now heading up towards the line. Of course, Valentino Labella at the top. Then we've got Sammy Simeone in second. Then Daniele Parodi goes up into third there with a 20.485. We've got Givadar in P6 for Aversio with a 21.414. Just trying to find someone else coming through towards the line. We've got Anton now for Sierra heading through towards the final corner now. We'll see what he can set. See, heads his way out of the final corner, I believe turn number 15, up towards the line, goes up into P6 there with a 121.055 as Inden out heads to the line with a 21.834. Alan Schumer up into P5 with a 20.6, a very nice time indeed. And we've got Exafox as well, there's obviously Keanu up into 4th. There's decent time indeed from Keanu, but his teammate not having a time and having an invalidated lap will definitely put them into a bit of a disadvantage now going in towards the last 12 minutes of this session.
Richie, it's fine. You said it yourself. There's 12 minutes left of a session. They couldn't possibly invalidate 2 more times, could they?
Well, very possible. And I'm not
part
just
of the
saying that. I'm not saying that because it's ABS. I'm just saying in general, it's very possible to definitely
Right, cancel him.
invalidate your
Everyone
laps
cancel
again.
him. Nathan Richards hates Exafox. Cancel him. Get him gone. But no, realistically, they've still got enough time to be able to get out
Yeah,
there, do some
definitely.
laps, get the prep in. Even if it's just setting a little bit of a banker, if you're looking at a high-end 20, maybe even a 20, mid-21, just make sure you've got something there for your teammate to work with. Because if you don't set a lap time, you're not qualifying.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. But I will just quickly point out, your jungle comment has sparked a couple questions in the chat. So, what's your rank on GeoGuessr?
Not very high. I mean, I remember the once I did guess the UK and it was Australia. So, yeah, I'm not very good at GeoGuessr at all.
How? Okay, right. Do you know where Qatar is on the world? I'm just checking.
The Middle East.
Right, okay. Well, Mythos is certainly looking to try and get himself through the last corner with the DRS wide open, burning as much of a battery as he can. And again, a 122.2. But, same time, it's still a banker on the board. It's what he needs to do. Just get himself there. He can build on it. You've got enough time of a session. Just keep whittling it away for sure. But no, it's one of those. It's going to be a bit of downtime now. So perhaps we could potentially look at, maybe seeing a couple of these drivers, which might have took us a little bit by surprise. Sammy Simeone, for an example, for Shizu, already up in P2.
Yep. Brilliant indeed from Sammy Simeone with a 120.4. His teammate on a 120.667. So, of course, Marcel needs to find a few more tenths if he wants to help Shizu have a chance of qualifying. Of course, Sammy as well definitely needs to find more time than that, but the track will evolve as the qualifying session gets along. As Lebella there, still at the top with a 120.361. Very decent time, but we've still got to remember, with the other teams we've also got qualifying, with the fact the track evolution is going to get higher, they will need to find maybe a couple more tenths if they want to try and solidify themselves a chance of racing in PSGL E-Series for Season 4. Remember, there's only 3 spots that a team can take. Only 3. And when we got, I think, 15 teams qualifying, Josh, you got, what? It's got to be difficult, isn't it? 1 in 5 chance, pretty much.
It's ridiculous. It's times like this where I wish Codemasters would just make a couple exceptions and let us run a 24-car grid so we can squeeze a couple extra community teams in there. Because realistically, how good would it be if we had 5 community teams, 7 professional teams, and we let them absolutely duke it out across the world? To me, that would be absolutely ideal. But work with the best we've got, because we will be getting the best grid we have ever had on E-Series. Regardless of the drivers getting put in by professional teams, regardless of the teams qualifying, it is the strongest grid we will have ever seen throughout the remainder of this season. And think as well, we've still got how many more months of this game? Looking at a minimum of 10, right? Like, there's potential for season 5 to maybe get even bigger.
Well, I'm sure the potential is there, and I'm sure O'Connor will be trying his hardest, along with Byron and all the others at the PSGL team, to make each season bigger and better. And I've got to say, I've been commentating here since the midway through Season 1, and it has only got better. Season 2, Season 3, and now into Season 4, it's gotten better and better. And, well, the sky's the limit. And, well, that's a long way away, I've got to say. So PSGL is just going to cook more and more and more. But obviously, we're here for this season. We've got to focus on Season 4. And we've got to still see which 3 teams are going to qualify. And I've got to say, looking here at Valentino Labella's lap, he's definitely on a big improvement indeed. He was up by 2 tenths in that middle sector, Josh. This could be maybe a 0.1 or maybe into the 19s. It'll be a 20.222. So lost time in that 3rd sector.
But then again, you mentioned the track evolution ramping up, increasing the grip on the surface for these cars. The more laps you do, the grippier the circuit will get. Perhaps maybe he's just gone and tried to maybe tease a little bit of a track limits there in Sector 3. Realise he could maybe get a little bit with pushing it slightly further out on one of the curbs and taking that in for his final run, where he's going to be looking to try and get into the 19s and really excel on his performance there. But again, so many drivers here looking to come across the line and improve their lap times. Here with Yves Givodar here, looking up towards the line, exhausted all his battery. And again, another 21 flat for him there. Certainly looking to try and cook something up here, all up and down the grid.
Of course. So, TRT at the top at the moment with a 20.222 and a 20.370. Then Shizu, 3rd and 4th at a 0.4 and a 0.5. Then we've got Keanu in P5 with a 20.570. We'll see what Exavox can do. Of course, not setting a lap last time around due to an invalidation. Has made it through to the final corner now without an invalidation. We'll see what Exavox can do for the ABS team. Will he go quicker than his teammate as he heads his way up towards the line? This will be a decent lap only. Ooh, only a 21.0, so that is half a second away from Keanu Lutour's time. So definitely a lot of time needed to be found here by Exavox, and a 21.0, it's not going to give you close to a chance of getting through towards E-Series. But Aversio Racing there, Adam Schumer, a 20.256. That's a brilliant time from Adam Schumer there to put himself up into second place, and this is for a team which I haven't really seen before E-Series.
No, I'll tell you what, you wanted a couple underdogs to root for. I think he might be the one to go for. That's all I'm saying. Last year, of course, we had Shizu, we had Thomas Enge as well, blasting away through. Of course, SR Suba, last-minute entry onto that Season 3 grid, doing a remarkable job. Looking to try and recreate a couple things here, maybe reignite that lightning in a bottle they found last season. But of course, they'll be slightly further on into the qualifying session, because at the moment, all eyes on Mythos Speed here, still on his lap, looking to try and get an improvement from a 22.2. And surely he's going to be looking to try and maximise himself out here in the final sector. Got very little to lose. 6 minutes left on the clock. You can risk an invalidation if you necessarily want to. Again, the rear end stepping out there through the final right-hander in the third sector. Another one of those key things where the drivers just had to adapt their driving style from last year.
Yeah, definitely. There's been many changes with the handling. And Mythos Speed gets to the final corner, and we'll go back into the pits. And nearly bins it in the pit lane and DNFs. Well, taking a lot of speed into the pit lane. Yeah, that was a close one to maybe a DNF, and still Mythos Speed 2 seconds off. Needs to find certainly a lot of time on their next lap. Was up by just under 0.4 of a second on their previous lap, but of course that would mean they need to find 1.6 seconds in the final sector. There's only really one corner where you have to do much, so Mythos Speed needs to find a lot more time on their final run. Of course, 6 minutes to go. Josh, I can't see more than one run here now. Unless...
surely one last run here. Surely. Just pile it all up, build it up. Couple things. Only one corner. Mate, do you realise how accurate you got to be on the steering in order to get lap times like these guys?
Very.
Ridiculous. You're looking at like 0.5 of a degree
Yeah.
to make sure you can absolutely maximise everything. There might be one corner where you're just using the pedals a little bit more, but all throughout it, these drivers are so smooth, so controlled on the steering. A little bit, well, I was about to say a little bit like our boss man, Big C, but in the chat, he's looking for smoke, saying Adam's going to get signed by Veloce Academy soon, Ben, after that lap time.
Wow.
Wow.
We know Veloce Academy have been making a lot of signings recently. Of course, taking Gregory and a couple other of the Australian scene. So Veloce Academy, they're definitely looking to diversify. That's for sure, isn't it?
Nathan, didn't you set a 22 flat around here a couple of weeks ago?
No, I did 21.5.
Oh, mate, put your name in the bucket.
I'll be
VA
P10 at
will be
the
after
moment.
you.
No, P11 at the moment. So
VA are after you. That's all I'm saying.
well,
Keep your head down, mate. You'll get signed up to them.
if they're after me, the standards are dropped. That's for sure. I prefer being a commentator. I can do this job a lot better. But we are yet again on board with Valentino Labella, who's currently up by half a tenth in the first sector. So yet again, more time being found by the TRT team, and this is brilliant to see. You know, the more time that's being found makes it that when we go through towards Group B and Group C, they've also got to find this time, and it's going to be very difficult to decide or to see who will be going through in towards E-Series Season 4 there. I believe that was Sammy Simeone going up to third with a 120.359.
Yes, sir.
Shizu looking decently strong here with a 20.3 and a 20.5, of course, all down to Marcel here to see what he can do. But back on board with Valentino Labella now, heading through in towards the final corner. What can Valentino do on this lap? It could be into the 19s. It won't be. It will be a 20.158 and improving by 0.64. Still, not gaining much time in the second and third sector here. That seems to be the limitation here for Valentino Labella.
Yeah, Peroti's invalidated his lap time as well, so he's going to have to dive it back into the pits and hope for an absolute Hail Mary in these last 3 minutes to get another lap going, because it does look like there is still time for him to go and try and do a fourth run. It could certainly be very interesting to see what their sort of strategy is going to be around that. We know a couple drivers left for pits later than others, Fox being a prime example of that, still on his outlap. Is he really going to get another time, or is this going to be his one and only final shot to try and get through here into the qualifying? But you was talking about setting the benchmark for the other groups. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask this as well to chat, because I know a couple of you lot are going to be far better at the game than myself, and I know you're far better at it than me as well, Mr. Richards. But you go in, let's say you're Group B. Valentino Labella has just done a, let's say, 119.9, right? Example. You go out for your first lap on a track which isn't fully rubbered in, and you end up setting, what, a 120.5. Would that affect you mentally? Would that start to maybe demoralize you a little bit, make you lose a little bit of confidence? Or is it something that you just expect these community drivers to be used to, understand why it's happened, put cognitive thought behind it, and be able to develop and move on past it?
I mean, I think it depends on your skill. If you're a driver that knows you can get through in towards the 20.1s or 20.2s, you're showing it in qualifying in the practice, then I don't think you're going to be that worried. But if you're a driver that tends to struggle in qualifying and doesn't always find the confidence, and you think, well, I've done a 20.5, but I tried, and I don't know what I can do after this, that's when you start to worry, because you're thinking, well, I've done the best effort I have, I don't think I can find much more time, and you start to panic, you start to worry, and then you start to think, well, if I don't, help this team qualify, what is the team going to do? Will they, in some cases, might they want to kick me, or might they want to, there's many implications that can happen, or a driver will think can happen from performing badly. So I think one thing that every driver here needs to put in their mind is kind of forget about everything outside and just focus on this session only. Some of them have done up to a week practice. I know that everything was announced around a week ago for the teams of what date we was going to start. They've had 5 days. That's a lot of time to practice. So now they've got to go, and someone's spinning.
It's pirouette. It's a pirouette.
I didn't know who it was, but
leave Leotard alone. He just wanted to have a little spin as X-Fox there puts in a purple middle sector, looking very strong on his lap here. Currently sitting in P8. He's going to be looking to try and climb himself up, because we know X-Fox, whether it's for great reasons or maybe not necessarily great reasons, but he is certainly a very quick driver, and there's no denying that. He is absolutely fantastic.
Definitely.
A couple of people in chat asking who is Yana and where is Liam Parner?
Liam Parner's not here because Red Bull didn't start yet. So
no,
there's no chance of him being here just yet, guys. Unfortunately, I know we all love Liam Parner, because who doesn't love Liam Parner? But maybe we'll see him sometime in the future.
Mate,
Hopefully.
I'm telling you something. What I hope is that one round towards the end of the season, every single team will just put an engineer in. We can get Yona Martins on board as well, having it. Mate, for me, that would be absolutely cracking. We would have a best of both worlds, as we are seeing drivers start to lose it, start to spin out, start losing a little bit of control. But Adam Schumer looking fully under control, looking like on absolute rails here, heading into this final sector.
He is, but unfortunately, Josh is down on his time. So there won't be much of an improvement unless he can do a lot in these last couple of corners. So Adam Schumer now heading through towards the final couple of corners. We've got 3 seconds till the checkered flag. Of course, Labella won't make it to the line in time. So Valentino Labella will be finished on a 120.158. What can Adam Schumer do to the line? Does improve with a 120.220. Then we got Daniele Peroda here. Needs to find some time on that 120.370. He's up by half a tenth in that second sector. So still only looking here for a low 0.3. Needs to find a lot of time in this final corner now. What can Daniele Peroda do? As we can see, Marcus Almeida there, finish in P10. Peroda will be looking to try and improve on that 0.3. It goes to a 0.263. So about a 10th fan there for him. And Sammy Simeone here, Josh, was on an improvement, but has had a massive slide coming through turn 11.
Yeah, very rough indeed. Same with Marcel invalidating his lap time. It's not necessarily looking the greatest there for Shazoo. And then, of course, we've got Ender finishing up their lap, currently a 10th up out of Sector 1. We're going to see what it's like out of Sector 2, just over a 10th. Going to need a majestic final sector here to find almost a second to get themselves in back with a potential real opportunity to try and qualify. But as things stand, TRT, certainly the team to beat out there.
Definitely looking very strong. But then again, Tatum Racing Team, there was never a doubt in terms of being able to qualify. They got such a strong roster, also a very strong iRacing roster. So I think there was definitely a team that people would have been looking at, thinking these can qualify. They've got a good chance of doing so. And a 0.1 and a 0.2, I think with the grids that we got coming through towards the next the next groups, it's going to be close, but I think they've definitely got a chance. But we'll look through the times from the different teams. So TRT with Valentino Labella and Daniele Parodi with a 0.1 and a 0.2. Then Aversio, a 0.2 and a 0.7. Then we have Shazoo, 0.3 and a 0.5. Then we have ABS with a 0.5 and a 0.6. SET with a 21.0 and a 22.2. And then we have VRA with a 21.2 and a 21.3. And I had to rush through that, Josh, because I didn't know when the session was going to end.
But again, it's one of those things for the drivers towards the bottom end there, looking at the VRAs and the SETs. It's a learning opportunity, right? They've been able to go out there with the likes of Valentino Labella, understand a little bit more. They'd be able to go back, rewatch the footage, try and get themselves back into, right, maybe if I dissected this line a little bit better, maybe if I took it a little bit wider on entry, maybe if I shaved off a little bit of speed in the apex in order to use a lower gear so I could get a better drive out the corner, and working their way through the laps like that, they can find significant improvements. And then you could be looking at potential Season 5 qualifiers, depending on how the grid would line up. But again, one of those things, you're just going to have to take it on the chin. Don't let your hearts drop. Keep pushing, keep getting there, because there are so many opportunities, not only here at PSGL, but of course in the wider sim racing landscape, to be able to prove your ability.
Of course. So now it's time to get ready for our second group, which I need to find the person I need to join. I've been very unprepared in this, Josh.
Lucas, mate. Lucas.
But that was also partly from the reason that I accidentally turned the internet off 5 minutes before we started.
Yeah, so if anyone was here for that little bit, someone decided, hey, I need to go print my notes, because I don't know how alt-tabbing works. I can't just have it up on another screen. So he ran downstairs to his printer and saw an Ethernet cable and thought, what's that doing in the ball? And he pulled it out.
Yep,
so
wrong button.
There might be a 5-minute stream
plug.
on the YouTube channel in the history. If you just go through, if you're allowed to comment, go give it a comment saying Nathan Richards caused this. Could be absolutely fantastic. But it will be Lucas. Will be joining here, and hopefully it's going to be looking to be an absolute cracking opportunity here. Will Lewis saying, big fan Joshua, big fan of you too, Will. I'll see you.
It's great to see Will here, and hopefully we get to see Will race in E-Series for Williams. I know that he raced a lot in Season 2 and Season 3, so we'll see if Will Lewis makes a return.
Will, come back. We need you. Please.
But, Josh, we're in Lobby 2. We've got 10 people in, so we're nearly there. But
okay.
We'll have a quick look at the second group. So, first of all, we've got Veloci Academy. Now, this is a team that pretty much needs to qualify. If they don't qualify, well, whoever's the manager, you're in a bit of trouble, because this team should be going straight through, shouldn't they, Josh?
See, I've just had a ping on my phone, and it's just told me that they're looking to sign Adam to try and use his qualifying lap time from Group A for this. But no, realistically, jokes aside, by far one of the best grids. Like, their roster is ridiculous. It's a joke. Of course, adding Gregory to it as well, it's just another step up. So expecting them to be up towards the top of this timesheet. Overall, not only in Group B as well, but again, you're looking down the list here, there's opportunities for these teams to be able to squeeze themselves in. ETA, NLR, TF10, all big hitters, all of which have been in the community for a long, long time, all looking just to try and squeeze themselves in. But of course, already got 4 big hitters in Group B alone.
Yeah.
Not to mention Group A and Group C have got their own big hitters where you would expect them to qualify. Some teams are going to end up being disappointed here, but of course, NLR running with Ivan Santamaria, Luke Mills as well. A great lineup. TF10 got Pius Korsman currently in the lobby, and then Fionn McKee as well. Another solid lineup. ETA, Mark Schutler, and someone who's not got a clan tag on, Jack Maloney. Hey,
the wrong team. Look in the lobby, Josh. Jack Maloney is currently part of WOR, which unfortunately don't exist anymore. They ceased existence a couple of weeks ago.
Jack, mate, you've had one job. Change your nickname on Steam.
Is Boober driving? Will Lewis? I've seen the name Boober around. No, Boober's not in the lobby, unfortunately. You seem quite impressed to have Boober in, but no, Will. Unfortunately, not today, it seems. But Josh, bit of a fun fact here for everyone in the chat as well.
Oh no!
Last season, qualifiers at Japan. One driver, known as Rihard Sprogis, set the fastest time overall out of all the groups. So Rihard's...
I thought Nico Benz matched it exactly.
Oh wait, two drivers did match. It was Rehards and someone
Yeah.
else, but it was
Nico
when Rehards
Benz.
was
Nico
part of
Benz. Yeah,
a
yeah.
part of SRC, where Gregory was also part of 4 days ago. So yes, Volta
Ooh.
Academy taking a lot of SRC drivers away.
I'll also give you a fact as well about that Rehards masterclass he did back in
Mhm.
Suzuka. It was only the day before he got access to the setup. And he did that on the default stock SRC setup. Of course,
Yeah.
brilliant partner here with us at PSGL. Do go and check out their setups because they are fantastic. And I'm not just saying that because they give us money, realistically. They are genuinely fantastic baselines to work yourself off. And as Rehards proved last year, they're quite literally equip and race. You go for it. Absolutely. Fully controlled. Again, another one of those great opportunities. If you're somewhat a bit tedious about learning how to do setups, you can somewhat learn, have a look at the setups they use, what sort of track characteristics match up to it, and alter it a little bit more to your liking. I know some drivers, especially this year's game, they like having the rear end a little bit looser. It's able just to get you rotated a bit quicker, and of course, get you a little bit of extra exit speed from the corners. But another one of those things where it'll be down to the driver's comfort and driver preference. So don't expect just to be able to grab a setup, plug it, and race, and be, the pace of a couple of these drivers, because realistically, these drivers spend a little bit too long. They need to go touch grass. But nevertheless, you've got to sit there and think, right, if these drivers are able to do it with this sort of similar setup, couple wing adjustments, maybe a little bit differential, maybe a bit of brake bias change for certain corners, you could be absolutely flying up there too.
Of course, of course. I've used the SRC setups from F1 2021, 22, 23, and this game, of course. And I've got to say, they're very good. I do really enjoy using the SRC setups. And I've seen Theon's name in the chat a few times. Hello, Theon. You seem to want me to say hi a couple of times. I saw you put Nene earlier on. I know you were referring to me, but hello, Theon. Welcome in indeed. And
It's cute. You guys got nicknames?
well,
Oh, okay. It's a one-sided nickname. All right. Okay. Okay.
Stop talking to our driver, Nathan, please. Will Gibson. Well, I heard a week ago.
I heard you and Will had a fantastic experience yesterday.
We did. We met up.
Oh dear.
It was an interesting day, wasn't it, Will? And less of the language, please, Will. There's no need to be so rude.
It could be children
Disgraceful.
watching, guys. Keep the language PG in chat, please.
But it's nice to see the support here from TF10, of course, supporting the commentators team. Being quite disrespectful. Well, I'll remember that, Will, when TF10, if they qualify, I'll remember that in the main season. Don't you worry. But
Brother,
Josh,
just drop the if they qualify. Ow.
But
It's
Josh,
mad to think, right? Sorry, 2 years ago. Sorry, 2 seasons ago, you'd think TF10 are a shoo-in. It's mental.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
They would team. Well, they had Max Wiesel, who I heard doesn't drive the game anymore because he doesn't like it. But if they had Max Wiesel, they would be qualified straight away because that man is just he's unbelievable. He's got real life racing experience. He jumps onto F1 and he can literally not practice and win. He's that good. So it's a shame that TF10 can't use him. But they have got, of course, Theo McKee and the other driver, who I completely forgot, Josh. Who was it? Come on, don't make me look stupid, please.
It's okay. It'll come to you.
I've genuinely forgot. This is not good. The second driver is.
It'll come to you. It'll come to you.
TS Corsman. There we go.
Yeah. Okay,
oh my. Well.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's hot. It's fine. It's a hot day today, so I didn't remember.
We'll blame it on that. But should mention Titus Korsman, fantastic driver.
Oh, wrong button.
For me,
what have I done?
could pretend.
We're back.
Are we actually back?
No, because the stream's black. There we are. Sorry, guys. Oh my. This is not a good day at all. Oh my goodness. But this is a perfect time for issues, isn't it? If we're going to have issues, have them there than in the first round. Oh
exactly.
My.
Nothing's perfect. And I feel like a lot of things could be said about the game at the moment. Hence the reason why we are ghosting. But we're back, better than ever. And looking to try and get a couple of these guys solid lap time on the board. And Titus Korsman, again, one of those drivers which always comes out and surprises me, always has a fantastic run, puts in solid lap times.
Josh,
What's up?
We've got 9 drivers in the lobby. DLX are missing someone.
Yes.
Deluxe Esports team, so they won't qualify by the season of it because you need 2 people to set a time. So yeah, DLX are not going to qualify, it seems, for E-Series at the moment, being as they haven't got their second driver. I'm not sure if they're allowed to redo it depending what the issue was. And yes, Jack Maloney is part of ETA, but says WOR, so don't get disalarmed. It is, of course, part of ETA, along with Mark Schluter. I'm just trying to work out who's who, because all these different names, all these different car colours, it is rather confusing. Of course, TF10, I've got Theo McKee and TS Korsman, but Volce Academy here, Gregory Prajibal and Rihard Sprogis. Now, that is a team which...
Joke of a lineup.
They should make it through, shouldn't they?
Yeah. No ifs, ands, or buts. Just, they should. If they don't, surely just have a look in the mirror. Have a deep old think about what's happening. But no, it's certainly looking like this could be one of the best groups of the evening. So, starting on here with Fian McKee. Of course, your Fifi, he's going to be looking to try and set himself a solid lap time.
We'll see what Fion can do. Heading through in towards turn number 1 and turn number 2 at the moment. Then back to left at turn number 3. Of course, the start of the session, the track is at its worst. The track's not rubbered in. You got no grip, and also you're not driven a lap yet in this session. So of course you've got to also get adjusted. So these first laps don't always take them to to literal. Don't take them with a pinch of salt. As Fiona heads through turn 6 in towards turn 7, Josh, but the thing is, the quicker teams, we expect them to have good lap times even on their bankers, don't we?
Yeah, but with that being said as well, it depends really how some teams would have practiced, because of course some drivers would have just hopped into time trial, got themselves sorted, perfect temperatures, everything like that. Other teams might have gone a little step further and started thinking, right, okay, I'm going to have to do the outlap, the tyres won't be perfect. And it's all about preparing yourself on the outlap, because I cannot stress how important it is for tyre temperatures in this year's game. Make sure you've got the correct setup, make sure the tyre pressures are perfect for you as well. All of that adds into what you're able to do for a lap time around here. So even if you are taking it a little easy, perhaps being a little bit cautious around track limits as well, just to make sure you got a lap time on the board, you're still expected to hit towards that mid-20 range, which is exactly what Fian's done. Be interesting to see if anyone's going to really be able to try and push that slightly further down, as we see both TF10 drivers setting almost matching lap times, a tenth apart from each other as Rihard's. Well, you just knew it was inevitable, didn't you?
It's a good banker. I'll give him that. A 20.3 is the banker time from Rihard Sprogis, which is the quickest time by 0.2 of a second. Fion McKee in second, with his TF10 teammate Tias Korsman in third place with a 20.574. Then we have Gregory Prajibal in fourth with a 20.6. Luke Mills with a 20.7. And Pago Pera with a 22.0. So, of course, a lot of time needed to be found by the lone Deluxe Esports team driver. But ETA, without a lap time set, that is not ideal at all. Of course, we know we've got 13 and a half minutes left. But to come out of your first run without a lap, it's worrying. It's definitely not a good sign. And, of course, NLR, could be a bit of an underdog here in this qualifying. They've been around forever. They've got such a brilliant PlayStation team, but the PC team isn't always at that top level, which is a shame because they've done a lot of work. They put a lot of effort in towards their team. So hopefully tonight could be the night that they can try and bring themselves in towards PSGL EC for Season 4. Of course, Luke Mills there with a 120.795 and Ivan Santamaria yet to set a time in this session. So hopefully he can head out shortly and get that car with a lap. As, of course, VA, yes, they're doing good with a 0.3 and a 0.6, but they'll need a lot more than that, won't they?
Absolutely. And, it's part of the track evolution. You would expect him to grow more into the session as it goes on. With 12 minutes still remaining. But it can be said as well, you get a little bit overconfident. You push the tyres a little bit too hard. And a track which is getting more and more grip with each lap which goes by, it can be very, very easy to maybe get a little bit of a snap on the rear, just trying to eke out a little bit more time. It doesn't even necessarily matter where, because the track limits around this circuit can be so strict. I mean, realistically, the only place you can really look at trying to, squeeze a little bit of track could potentially be between 5 and 6, the double right-hander, because you can take quite a wide line there off the circuit to make sure you can get a great run heading down into the hairpin. But again, so many other places. Take the final corner, for example. All it takes is a slight snap of the rear. If your rear right goes over that white line, slam dunk, lap time gone, and you can't really dive it into the pits at that point either. But Mark here, looking to get himself a lap time on the board, heading down into turn 1 before it beautifully sweeps around here for turn 2, and then flat out here for turn 3 before heading up the hill into that aforementioned turn 4, turn 5 double right-hander.
Of course, and this track here again, as we've said before, all the speed that you throw into the corner, you've got to take as much speed as possible, and with that, you had the risk of running wide, and you run wide by, a millimetre over that white line, and that is your lap done. So as much as you need to take as much speed into a corner, you've also got to be mindful of not running too wide, not getting too much understeer or oversteer if it kicks the car out off the circuit. So you've got to also find a really balanced setup. You've got to make sure you're happy with the car that you drive in and not necessarily having just the best setup. You also need to make sure the setup you use is really tuned into the way you drive, whether that's an understeer setup or an oversteer setup. Well, we can see now Mark Schluter now heading through in towards the final few corners, in towards that third sector. We'll see what he can do through the penultimate corner, then in towards the final corner. Of course, ETA yet to set a lap time in this qualifying session. We'll see what Mark can do to open up their session, a 20.798. What about Jack Maloney? He's just heading through in towards turn 7. So we'll have a little look here. Ivan Santamaria, Josh, he's just heading through into the final corner.
Yeah, again, it's one of those scenarios where, as we mentioned, having a little snap at the rear can cost you so much. Thankfully, it's not as long of a run up towards the finish line as it was here on last year's game, with Santamaria being able to save himself there with a 120.8 and not invalidating his lap time, but nowhere near the sort of pace he would be looking for. Jack Maloney here as well, looking to come around and be able to get himself a lap time on the board. But as we say that, drivers looking to try and get themselves onto a flying lap. We've got the likes of Rehards, Gregory, both getting their laps underway, looking to be able to really put a charge and a bit of a squeeze onto the teams from Group A to make sure they can secure themselves a place to qualify in Season 4.
Of course, here we'll go back on board with Fionn McKee, currently on a 120.504 for the TF10 team. Of course, his teammate behind, just 70,000 back exactly. And Fionn there up by a decent chunk in that first sector. Goes purple on my track map, but I don't think that purple sector really means much. I don't know if that means it's actually purple or not. The track map's a bit weird on this game. But we'll see Fionn now head down towards turn number 10. Throw the car in, get back on the power straight away as you head your way round turn 11 and then prepared for the final sector. These next 3 corners are flat out the whole way. Fionn there finding a 10th in the second sector, currently projected for a 120.404. He was up by exactly a 10th in that second sector. We'll see what he can do in the final sector now. Just going to be passing one of the NLRs as he heads round towards the final corner, then back on the power up towards the line. What will it be here for Fionn McKee? A 120.451, improves by only half a tenth of a second there, Josh.
Yeah, Gregory hops himself up into P2 and Rehards dives it back into the pits after an invalidation. But again, being able to set that strong banker lap time has given him that little bit of an opportunity he needs to be able to go back out and get something sorted. Paco as well, suffering with an invalidation there. I do believe we've got Tyus Korsman as well, swinging it down into the first corner with Jack Maloney invalidating slightly further back. Tyus Korsman, 120.3. Certainly not a bad lap time to get yourself up there on the board.
Yep, definitely looking decently strong at this point of the session. Of course, Veloce Academy and Tier 10 very close, but they're two of the best teams when it comes to the community teams in the scene. There's no surprise they're battling over first, second, third and fourth. Of course, then a large gap back towards NLR, ET8 and the Lone to Lux Esports team. I do feel bad for Paco Pebber, of course, got no one to accompany him in this session, so they are definitely not going to qualify for the E-Series Season 4 Championship. But, of course, all the other teams here still have that chance. NLR, ET8, they've got a lot of work to do here. They're in the 0.7s, the 0.8s and the 0.9s. Possible, yes. Difficult, definitely. Then, of course, that was Gregory Pashibal there going quite wide, Josh, through turn 14. And that is not the first time we've seen someone do that, is it? People have been going wide everywhere. We also had someone spin, didn't we, here?
Yes. Again, it can be so easily done. All you need to do is get onto a slight bit of paint where you don't have the optimal amount of grip, and next thing you know, your rear is gone. You're doing beautiful pirouettes. You're basically doing donuts like Max does almost every year at this point around Abu Dhabi. But, it's one of those things. It's one of those scenarios where it looks so easy to avoid, but when you're pushing on the limit 100% of the time, lap after lap after lap after lap, it will just weigh on you. It will have a toll on you. Imagine what a couple of these drivers would be able to do in time trial mode. You'd be looking at maybe even a 19.8. You'd be looking at absolutely phenomenal, groundbreaking lap times, but they've had it took out of them. They've been practicing for the last week. They've been practicing earlier today. Some of them might be struggling with a bit of burnout as well, but these drivers, they know what it's all about. They know what's up for stake here. And Luke Mills certainly knows what he's going to have to achieve here in the next 6 minutes and 30 seconds in order to get NLR any sort of chance of closing in here. Sorry, words, they're difficult. Trying to close in to a Season 4 qualifying spot here at E-Series. It's a tall task, but you feel like if any team have got the experience to do it, you would think it might be in a NLR.
Of course, we'll see what NLR could do. Of course, Luke Mills here up by nearly 2/10 in that first set. A decent tier so far from Luke Mills, heading right in towards turn number 7 now. Bringing the car in, getting back on the power nice and early as you'll drag yourself around to turn 8 and then back to the right at turn 9, then back to the left at turn number 10. As you then get back on the power nice and early. Looking decent so far here from Luke Mills as you round your way through to the end of that second set to up by nearly 0.3 of a second. Looking here for possibly around a high 0.4 or maybe a low 0.5 here is Luke Mills as he finds his way down towards the last few corners, turn 15, then turn 16 at the final corner. What can Luke Mills do? Can he put himself any closer to that top 4 and try and give NLR a chance of qualifying here for E-Series Season 4? He heads to the line with a 20.42. Won a decent lap time there from Luke Mills. We'll see here what Ivan Santamaria can do. He's currently on for 8.6, depending what he can do here, Josh, in the final sector.
You hope, don't you? You hope for their sake. With 5 minutes left on the clock, so they can still go and do another lap here. But you see, Ivan Santamaria, I'm not sure if you guys caught that there, but he did just about run out of battery as he was heading up towards the line there. Used all of his deployment. Couldn't deploy any more in that lap. It's not necessarily so prominent in this year's version of Qatar, given the new finish line being at the back of a grid. But it's one of those things that they will just have to be mindful about if they are looking to use the overtake to get a little bit of extra speed. As Rihard certainly found the overtake button on his car, didn't he? My word, 120.2 already, and we've got Gregory in the background looking to try and get himself sorted on a lap. So, tell you what, Nathan, should we hop on board with him?
We'll have a little look here at Gregory now as he heads his way back down towards turn 1 here. Josh currently on a 120.383. Needs to find a 10th and a half to catch up to Rihard's. Finds more than that, he could be into the 0.1s, which is brilliant and pretty much needed here by Veloce Academy. Of course, have been in E-Series since Season 1. Obviously taking part in Season 2 and Season 3. I believe it was Season 2 where they got their best finish, of course, finishing second in that championship. So they're a team that, you know, they've been around a long time. They should be in for a chance of qualifying for the next season. And well, you know, from the 7 teams we've already got, Josh, to add Veloce Academy back into the mix, it just makes that grid so much stronger, doesn't it?
Yeah, it'll give these younger drivers as well a brilliant opportunity to, you know, race against some of the really high-end talents in the F1 sim racing community. Again, another opportunity for them to learn, to grow, and improve themselves. Not that many of them need improving, to be quite honest with you, because Gregory is absolutely sending it here through the triple right-hander full throttle. Is he going to take the left-hander full throttle as well? He absolutely is. Stays in 7th gear as well. Doesn't even opt to shift down into 6th gear. It is absolutely ridiculous the speed you can carry through those corners on this year's game. Again, another beautiful line. But he decides to call it back into the pits with 3 minutes left on the clock. He's got enough time to go do one last run. But he thought that wasn't going to be enough, which is very interesting to see.
Yeah, well, he was down by just under half a tenth in the second sector. So he probably thought, well, it's best to head back into the pit lane and then go again for a final run and try and cook up a 0.2 or maybe into the 0.1s. Of course, Rihard's in a very good position here with a 20.231. We'll definitely be looking to try and help Veloce Academy secure a spot in PSGL E-Series. But TF10, they're going to be on the cusp here, aren't they? A 0.337 and a 0.451. It's going to be close. I don't think you can really say they'll be in, but I don't think you can really say they'll be out, can you, at this point, Josh? Because the times, you know, Group 1, there's a bit of a gap. But Group 2, or Group B, I should say, have looked very, very consistent and very, very strong, haven't they? Look at the gaps there. 2/10 from P1 to P5.
Yeah, it's one of those where, you know, you hope for a close qualifying, and then when it comes to us actually having to do the maths, we sit there and think, well, actually, if everyone just set the same lap time, it'd be loads easier. But no, they do certainly need a solid lap time to get themselves moved slightly further up the board. But again, the exact same thing could be said if Santa Maria is able to shave a couple tenths off his lap time. They could very much be looking in a position to try and topple over TF10 here, or maybe even Veloce Academy, depending on how much extra time they would be able to find. And of course, the Lone Warrior as well, out there by himself, Paco Power for Deluxe Racing. Still staying in it, still going out for a lap, currently sitting on 122 flat. No hopes of qualifying, but he's certainly not letting that get him down. He's still out there looking to try and get himself a lap time on the board to prove to maybe even just himself, maybe the chat, maybe us, Nathan. But he's deserving of being able to race full-time in a series. Because, of course, we've seen it here before. Drivers who do well in the E-Series qualifying quite often get scouted, looked at by other teams as well. So let's have a look at Tyus Korsman. He'll be the first one to set his final run here for Group B in the qualifying session. 1 minute left on the clock as he manhandles himself now round turn 2 before heading on to turn 3 and that beautiful little straightaway. You can see him deploying the battery at a rapid rate of knots.
Of course, and TF10 yet again a team that has been here through through season 1, season 2, and season 3. So they are also a team which really should be qualifying through into E-Series without a doubt. But they're suffering a little bit with a 0.3 and a 0.4. I don't think that will be entirely safe. They've definitely got to find some more time. Of course, TSA was up in that first sector, so looking to still improve on his lap time. We'll see what TS can do now as they head their way in towards turn 10, then jumping back on the power round in towards turn 11. Of course, these are the final moments here. The teams need to bring the best out of themselves at this point, and up by over a tenth and a half is Tyus Korsman now, looking to put himself onto a 0.2 flat, which is definitely a very competitive time. Heading through towards turn 15, then back to the right for the final corner at turn number 16. Can Tyus produce the fastest time here in Group B? The checkered flag is out, so no more lap times can be set. Tyus Korsman to the line will be a 120.171, an absolutely brilliant time from the TF10 driver.
Mate, that's the exact lap time he sort of needed to get himself up there. Finn McKee here, over towards the line as well. A 120.3. All of a sudden, is it the tides? I think we're slowly starting to shift over, aren't they? Paco setting himself a lap time, manages to shave 3 tenths of a second off. We've got Mark next up towards the line, currently sitting 2 tenths down on the lap time he previously set, looking to aim towards that 0.4 mark. Is he going to be able to reach it? Just up towards the line. Just a little bit shy of it, ends up with a 0.6 there. But then, of course, we've got the NLR boys coming up towards the line. Ivan Santa Maria cannot improve. It's all down to Luke Mills here, trying to sneak himself. And, of course, the NLR team through into the out of the qualifiers and into the main standings here for E-Series in Season 4. Up towards the line here. It's only a 0.4. And we've still got the Veloce boys yet to come, Nathan.
We'll see here what Rihard Sproggers can do. Currently second with a 120.231. Could be on an improvement here. Heading to the line will be an improvement with a 20.08. It's a brilliant lap time there from Rihard. And Gregory improves to a 120.224. That might be our quickest combined time of the qualifiers so far. The first one into the 20.0 is a brilliant lap time there from Rihard Sproggis, and it will be nearly a 10th back to Tyus Korsman. And yet again, Josh, like last season's qualifiers, Rihard's currently with the fastest lap time overall.
Absolute demon, I'm telling you right now. A 120.088 in short qualifying is ridiculous. Of course, there's a reason he's part of that Veloce Academy team, and he's certainly looking to keep himself well within that team as well. But Tyus Korsman, though, with a solid lap as well, reaching a 0.171. Gregory, 0.223. Fionn McKee, 0.375. Luke Mills with a 0.4. Ivan Santamaria with 0.5. Mark Schutler, 0.668. Jack Maloney there with a 0.8. And then, of course, Paco Power representing Deluxe all by himself. Bless him. Straight up a bit of sport in chat with a 121.7. Again, another valuable lesson learned from him. But the real question is now, who do we reckon is going to end up getting cut out? Could we potentially see a double knockout here from this Group C? Because I feel like it could potentially happen.
It could. I mean,
and that's what scares me, because we've already seen some demonic lap times for these drivers. If we see 2 drivers getting knocked out, it could be, mate, otherworldly.
Well, I'm just looking here at the time set so far. We do have a top 3. And, oh, no, sorry, no. They haven't all been added yet. I'm just looking through here.
Oh, okay.
They're still yet to be ordered, but there is, wow. The top 2 are separated by 1.1 tenth of a second. It's close. Very close.
Ridiculous. Oh,
But
sign me up, please.
guys, we're not done yet. We've had
Oh.
Group A, we've had Group B, and now it's time for Group C. We'll have a look at this final group. And Josh, while I sort everything out, why don't you give us a chat through what teams we've got looking to try and qualify?
Mate, it's looking again like another one. It's just a joke, really, isn't it? The quality that these teams have. Realistically, looking here, we've got the likes of SRC, of course, one of our sponsors here at PSGL, representing themselves. We've got the likes of Zach Miles and Harry Lai looking to do the running. Then we've got, of course, Thomas Enge, Sim Racing, and Marcel Biega, Ben Marples, another solid duo looking to try and get themselves potentially in. I mean, we saw last year, but it was very solid in the qualifying, and then it came over towards the race pace, and they tended to struggle just a little bit. Then, of course, we've got FVR again, another well-known team in the community, which is certainly looking to try and get themselves towards that top end, even the threatening end, to try and push themselves a little bit further. Of course, you've got CRE, Zenith, and Playing Ducks as well, rounding it out. But, of course, a couple of those teams you might not be necessarily too familiar with. Well, you can certainly be familiar with the drivers, of course. Lewis Jones, Jeremy Gallanier, and Julian as well, with JSD representing as part of the reserves for Playing Ducks as well. So he won't necessarily be out there tonight, but potentially if they qualify to try and get through. I mean, I remember JSD as one of the first drivers I commentated on here at PSGL.
Yeah, JSD, a driver that's been around for a very, very long time indeed. Of course, I've commentated over him over in WOR, and he's always been a hot shot. He's always been brilliant in qualifying. So we'll see what he can do as well for the Playing Ducks team. Of course, the team that I've commentated over on a other team event, and I've got to say they did a brilliant job. I think in that event they finished third in the standings. So
guess you could say they did a quacking job.
Well,
I'll take my leave. I'll take my leave.
Yes, Josh. Goodbye. Leave.
Bye.
But we'll head back to the intermission screen right now while we look to head in towards the third session. While I'm trying to figure out who I need to add on Steam.
My invite.
Oh, the person I've already got on Steam. There we go.
Imagine. Oh, damn me. But of course, I feel like we should also probably, we've already mentioned SRC a couple of times. We should mention the other half of our sponsors here as well. GT Omega. Again, not necessarily too visible at the moment because, of course, Nathan Richards doing his best to try and be a Dementor and lurk in the dark and wait for stuff to come out. But you can maybe see it a little bit better here. GT Omega, beautiful chair they provide us. It's,
Josh.
Again, fantastic quality. Yes, mate.
They can't see our chairs because of how dark our cameras are, but wouldn't it be easy to just show them an advert? Give them a video.
Yeah,
and really show
we
what
want to
GT
keep
Omega
it personal, right? Surely. Keep it personal. Or do you guys want to get rid of us?
Welcome back, everybody, back to your screens. Well, we was talking just, wasn't we, Josh, in the intermission of it's going to be close, isn't it?
It's going to be
these
ridiculously
teams.
close.
But yet again, another stat, TES, they were quickest in the Season 2 qualifiers, which was around Qatar, and they was also quickest in the Season 3 qualifiers, I believe, or they was second. They was very close to being one of the best. So, from their experience here in qualifying, they should have a very good chance of trying to get through in towards another season of another season of PSGL series. There we go. But as Connor said in the chat, guys, for those on Twitch who haven't seen, so far, Veloci Academy, Tatum Racing Team, and TF10 are the top three. Well, it's going to be close because one of them's going to get knocked out here, aren't they? It's sad. It's going to be a sad time because one team is going to be disappointed here, or maybe even more.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking because realistically, we know how much these community teams put in effort-wise to not only come and participate here in E-Series qualifying, but overall as part of the community, right? Some of these teams go off, run their own events, whether it's not necessarily here at PSGL, but wherever. They
Yeah.
run them, they do them. They're integral parts of the community, and it's a shame that we will have to say goodbye to a couple of these teams, which might have been here for previous years, might have done certain extraordinary feats, like you mentioned with TES. But again, it's one of those things. It's very much a double-edged sword. If they're not able to keep up and they're not able to keep a driver performance and keep an optimal level, whether different engineers or whatever else, they will eventually start falling back into the group and not necessarily being as standout as they could be. But with that being said, we all know a lot of these drivers, a lot of these teams will always have a place in our hearts as part of the community. As there's a beautiful red light in the pit lane telling you you're not allowed to go out on circuit, but the teams have just said, hey, you know what, FIA, you don't rule us. Kryptonite does. We're going out.
They're off. They're off.
They're off. They don't care. They're
But
off with them.
as Connor says in the chat, very true. It's a very strong lobby. It's a very, very strong lobby indeed. SRC, of course, a team that qualified last season, was one of the best. They was leading the championship at one point in season 3. We've got FER, who took part in season 1 and 2. We won't mention where they finished because it wouldn't help them in this scenario.
less said.
TS have also been
about race pace.
a bit of good team. So we've got 3 teams which have been here before. One of them is going to get through, I'm sure.
Why does it feel like the Euros final all over again? Because I'm just ready for heartbreak. I really am.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think Gareth Southgate's driving, and whichever team has got Gareth Southgate as a manager, well, they're not going to qualify. So, yeah. If Gareth Southgate is managing your team, guys, you're not going to qualify. End of. But, Josh, now I'm going to throw it... Right, I'm going to be a bit mean here.
Okay.
Now, I want you to say, who will set the fastest lap time in this session?
Okay.
It's a bit mean, but...
So, for me, it'll be between 2. 3.
4.
No. Okay, right. I reckon Ben Marples, he's got a pretty decent shout. Jeremy Gallinier, reckon he could have a very good shout. Okay, 4. Zach Miles, and then also Marcel Biega. Right, that's it. 4. I promise.
Wow.
I've covered a third of the grid, so if I'm still wrong, I'm never going to mention a prediction again. But no, realistically, it's one of those things where it is a very horrible question, but it's a horrible question for all the right reasons, because all these drivers are so competitive, all of them are so equally matched. Really just trying to be able to pull out a little bit more from the rest of us. Maximilian Lucart says JGM has no knowledge. That's all right, Max. It's okay. Don't you worry. I'll still lift you anyway.
Well, Josh, I hate to disappoint you, but one of the drivers you mentioned as the fastest in the session was Jeremy Glanier. Well, as you said that, he invalidated. I'm not joking. You said that and he invalidated at that second. But we have got someone who will set a time, and that will be Harry Lai, looking to qualify here for SRC. Did a couple of races for them last season, but this time looking to try and help them qualify for season number 4. Just heading through the final corner now. What can Harry Lai produce? Heading up towards the line now, it will be a 120.409, a decent lap.
Very decent.
For SRC to get underway. Alessandro Finn there with a 20.7, and Ben Mopples there with a 20.3, and Tope with a 20.2 to open up the session. Now that is what you call a banker time.
I just thought if I didn't mention him, he wouldn't be able to just put in a lap time like that and just call it for like okay, right, never mind. Right, some things are inevitable, and drivers getting invalidated when I praise them, and the drivers I choose to deliberately try and avoid mentioning doing well, they just go and do well, don't they? Maybe I just shouldn't talk about drivers, but everyone will do well. Maybe that's the new strat.
It's
Right.
my own fault for saying it, but as we can see there, that will be Marcel Biega going up into P5 with a 20.476. We've still got a few more cars on laps. We've got Welsh Jack for CRE. Of course, Lewis Jones there in P8 with a 121.1. And Jack yet to set a time for the CRE team. We've got Lucas Bazner, of course, part of the Playing Ducks team. Unfortunately there, getting an invalidation, so he won't be able to complete this lap. We'll have to go back into the pit lane and go for another lap. And still, ZNT, Zenith F1, yet with a lap time in this session. Of course, Jeremy going to be out yet again first for the team. And I've got to say, what a beautiful livery Jeremy's got on that car. Orange and
Gorgeous.
some sort of like no, sorry, it's black and some sort of like chrome orange, isn't it? Metallic. Is that the
Yeah,
word? I don't know.
yeah, it's not necessarily pearlescent though, is it? It's a beautiful car. But do I pop the chats bubble here? Do I be mean and pop it?
Go for it. Go for it.
Right. FVR, you're looking at Tope's lap time, absolutely phenomenal. Alessandro Finn's still got to find time somewhere in order for him to qualify, guys.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. He's got to find a bit. 4 or 5 attempts, surely, in order to be able to get themselves up there with the likes of the Veloces, to really be able to put a bit of a challenge. But again, that's a lot easier said than done. Again, I'll leave you lot to your copium bottles in the chat, but I wouldn't want to be in TF10's position. That's what I'm saying. At the minute. Not at all.
Will Gibson.
I would sweat in buckets. Will, I
Well.
hope you've got a bucket literally next to you, mate, because you will be drowning in sweat by the end of this session. Because with the lap times these guys are putting out so far, it's looking solid. Jeremy Gallanier, though, once again, invalidating his lap. I shouldn't have mentioned him. I fully cursed him.
That was his 8 lap, Josh. I don't think we need to worry too much about that.
Wait for it. Wait for it. I'm telling you. He'll do it.
Hopefully he
sense
doesn't.
it.
He's on a time now. He's heading down towards turn 1. We'll see if he can complete a lap in this session. Heading through towards turn 1, 2, and number 3. Of course, Jeremy, a driver that's yet again been around for a very, very long time. Been around the PSGL F4 and F3 levels, of course. I think season 33 was part of PCF2. So, you know, he's been around some very competitive drivers, knows how to be fast as he heads his way down towards turn number 6 here at 29.842 for Jeremy to open up Zenith F1's session. We've got Yelta Korsman as well on a lap time. I think there could be stuck in a bit of traffic.
Ghosted cars, mate. Ghosted cars. No such thing as traffic.
Oh, wait, yeah.
He's just got to remember, no distractions from the ghosts. That's okay.
Yeah.
Ghosts actually can't hurt you. They are see-through, invisible. You just go through them. Easy work. Jeremy Gallanier is trying to manhandle now. These next 3 right-handers, once again, full flat as always, but then the left-hander as well towards the end of the sector. This year's iteration, more downforce on the cars, better ground effects, still flat out, opting to keep it into 7th gear there. He's still got enough battery to squirm it all the way up towards the finish line here in order to get himself solid lap time, using a lot more of a curb on the inside than we've seen other cars use throughout the remainder of the session. DRS wide open, battery deployed, and it's a 0.4. He's finally got a lap time on the board, so I can feel guilt-free now until the end of the session. Brilliant.
Indeed, a brilliant lap time there from Jeremy Glanier there with a 20.445. We'll see what Yelta Korsman can do. Heading through in towards the final corner, of course, P5 for his teammates. Will be looking to close in on that himself up towards the line. Goes up to P7 there with a 20.756. Now we've got some more lap times underway. Zach Miles currently on a 120.413, looking to help SRC work their way into a second season for themselves of the PSGL series, and the invalidates at turn 2. That is it all over there for Zach Miles for now. We'll see here what Top 8 can do. Heading through to the end of that first sector. Is he up? He's up by 37 thousandths, Josh. This is yet again looking like another improvement for FVR.
Oh my word. Dude's literally a joke, isn't he? He's just able to find time wherever.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Of course, a little bit of track evolution's coming into play, but as well, the confidence he's got to flick the car in at these sort of speeds around a circuit where it can be so easy to invalidate as well. Shows he's put the time and effort into the practice.
Damn.
So maybe FVR could be one of these teams to try and maybe cause a bit of an upset, perhaps even a double upset with the likes of TES and SRC up there as well.
Well, I hate to disappoint Josh, but
I've
Top
done
8
it.
is down
I've done it.
and Alessandro's invalidated.
Top 8 is invalidated too. I've done it. I can't believe this.
And apparently as well, there's been an impeding from Zach Miles. I've seen in the chat. Jimmy says, nice impeding from Zach. I didn't see it on my screen, but brilliant. That might be SRC done if that's the case, because I do know there is a penalty for impeding a driver on track. As Lucas Basner there goes up into P7 with a 120.703. We've got Julian now heading up towards the line on a 20.8, will improve to a 20.763. Harry Lai currently up by a tenth and a half, a 20.285 for Harry Lai. Brilliant lap time indeed from the SRC man. Then we got Marcel Biega, unfortunately, with an invalidation, and Ben Marples, I don't think, found an improvement either.
No, I mean, one thing is for certain though, I'm not allowed to say anything nice about any of the drivers. But I will accept a PayPal for £5 if you want me to jinx one of your rivals. Happy to do that one for you guys. But overall, looking here, solid lap times on the board, especially considering they've got potential of 2 more runs left to go.
Yeah.
Could certainly see a couple drivers creeping down in towards that 120 flat range, maybe even into the 119s if they're able to hook up the perfect lap. As Harry Lai is scurrying himself all the way back to the pits as fast as he can. Meanwhile, we've got Jeremy out there looking to get himself, again, a lap time on the board, just setting his outlap now, looking just to try and prepare those tyres as best he can, because around a circuit like Qatar, it can be very difficult to try and prep the tyres in an optimal fashion, given how fast-flowing the corners are.
It certainly can. Of course, on last game, it was a bit of brake dragging you to the trick, but on this game, it's very different. So, yes, there's no brake dragging, and you can't use AI to warm up the tyres. So you've got to just hope they warm up. It's an annoying phase warming up the tyres on this new game compared to the last game, and of course compared to the single player where you just get the AI to do it because they do it brilliantly. So yeah, it's a lot more difficult, and that also has some skill because you've got to make sure you warm up your tyres at the right rate, and also you don't end up getting any tyre wear, because that still is a possibility, and 1 or 2% can still dramatically affect your tyres and affect your lap time. But yet again, Jeremy racing for Zenith F1, heading through towards the final corner yet again, currently on a 120.445, looking to close in to the top and looking to help Zenith F1 on their debut qualifying for E-Series make their way into PSGL E-Series 4 Season 4, Josh.
SRC did it last year. I can't see why Zenit couldn't at least give it a go here. Surely, at that point, you've got a very experienced driver in Jeremy here looking to try and push for boundaries. You've got a Korsman, who's, again, another solid talent. I'm not seeing a reason why they wouldn't be able to try and start pushing TF10 a little bit. The real question is, it might be a bit more of a race with the drivers currently in their group, rather than necessarily trying to push it. And again, I mentioned good things. Mistake there from Jeremy. Just loses the rear coming out the hairpin. But he did go purple in Sector 1, giving us a little bit of a taste of what we could be in for as this track keeps gripping further and further up here. Oh, is it just me or is it getting warm in here?
Well, I've got to say, I'm hot in general. It's 27 degrees currently at 8 p.m. It's very hot. I've got a PC, I've got a fan, which is looking at me. I can't turn it on.
You've got a fan?
Yeah, but I can't turn it on because of the mic. So it's just looking at me, staring at me, and it's just quite painful. So I'm very hot. I've managed to stream. We've got a brilliant qualifying here under action. It's very hot. I'm definitely a lot hotter than 30 degrees, that is for sure. But Jeremy now heading through the final corner, looking to heat up here for Zenith goes back into the pits. So won't complete that lap time. But what can Top A do here? Looking to improve here for FBR, a 20.2 at the moment. It will be a 20.162, a brilliant lap time there from Top 8. What can Alessandro Finn do? Heading up to the line, a 20.5. It's not going to be enough, I don't think, Josh. I don't think that's going to be enough here for FBR to qualify.
He needs to squeeze out another couple temps, doesn't he, realistically, here? Wow, it's going to be a tight one. But, of course, we've still got one more run left to go.
Yep, Ben here on an improvement, currently on a 20.3, looking to get a little bit higher. Of course, Zach Miles there with a 3.13. What can Ben Marples do for the TES team? Looking to get them qualified yet again for Season 4, a 20.183. Now, a lot of this is down to Marcel Biega. He's up by 0.2, Josh. This could be a spot for TES. No, he's back in the pits.
Oh.
So he's back in it, but he was up by 0.2 of a second there, Josh, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe he might have made a mistake heading into the left-hander there. Perhaps maybe didn't think he necessarily had the grip. Maybe tyres was slightly overheated, started to slide a little bit, so he lifted and thought, right, okay, I'm chucking this lap out the window. Just going to go back in the pits. Just needed to get prepared.
Well, there's some news in here, Josh, from Big C.
No.
The man himself says that FER need just over a 10th from Alessandro to qualify and to beat TF10. Then he's like, oh no, it's all changing. TES now also have a chance. So it's between FER, TES, and TF10. Or even maybe Voch Academy, who I think are in second place. No, sorry, Tatum are in second place. So we could have 4 teams in the running here. Oh my.
Mate,
this could be... Someone's going to be heartbroken, unfortunately. That is the thing we've got to look at.
I don't want any of these teams to go out. All of them play such great lap times. Oh my, right, okay. Everyone's hobbling back into the pit lane. Putting on a fresh set of softs. Do you know that Eminem song?
No.
You got one moment, one opportunity.
No.
You need to get more
Genuinely
educated.
don't know it. I genuinely don't know it.
Okay, right. Right, never mind. Okay, that's point gone. Right, that's goodbye point. Anyway, one shot
Well,
here for these drivers. Pressure as much as they could get.
I mean, we had pressure in Group A. We had pressure in Group B. But the pressure these drivers have got on them now is immense. This is it. This is to get your team a place into PSGL E-Series.
The biggest team event on the F1 game.
FPR.
Excluding F1 sim racing, but let's be
Of
honest.
course.
Let's
This
be
is
honest. This is closer, right? These drivers put it all on the line every single time. And in this qualifying, they have not backed down once. You see Harry Lai weaving, getting the temperature in his tyres nice and early on in Sector 1. He's got to be careful he doesn't overweave him. He doesn't over-prep him, overheat the tyres too much, because he'll be losing time on his actual lap. So, more drivers rolling out the pit lane. No slipstream advantage to be gained here for these drivers. It's all down to the execution of their lap and which drivers are going to be able to get it just right and nail it spot on in order to get that perfect lap time.
And well,
It's tense. It's tense.
before we get in, Josh, we'll quickly talk yes again. The teams that have already been qualified for this season's championship are Ferrari, Williams Esports, Race Clutch, McLaren Shadow, Aston Martin Esports, RHG, and Red Bull Sim Racing. Those are the 7 teams that are already qualified through. So to be able to race on a grid against those 7 teams, it's an honour, isn't it? It's a huge honour to be able to race against those teams. And that is what FVR, TES, SRC, and TF10 are battling for.
It's huge. Just imagine the brand exposure a couple of these guys could get from participating in that and being in the likes of, Scuderia Ferrari, showing off their drivers, showing off their engineers. It could be life-changing for a couple of these members looking to get through into the qualifying stages. But Harry Lai, the first driver, feeling the pressure here. Starting his lap is looking solid so far. Never mind, I've just cursed it. I'm sorry, SRC.
Oh, Josh. Brilliant. What a start.
I'm not getting a Christmas present. Yaren's not giving me a Christmas present. But we do have many more drivers looking to try and set a lap time here.
Well, Alessandro Finn needs to gain time. Top 8 has done the job. A 0.162. But Alessandro Finn has got all the pressure on his back. And he's currently up by a 10th in that first sector alone. Looking here for a 0.4. I believe that Alessandro does need around 1 to 2 tenths of a second here to give FVR the chance to qualify for E-Series. Heading through in towards turn 9 now, Josh. Surely at this point, Alessandro is just shaking, isn't he? With his feet in his arms, he's like, oh, I need to get this lap.
Hey, I'm shaking.
And there's just 5 corners to go.
I'm shaking. I have no idea how Alessandro's feeling. Flicking it through the first of the triple right-handers, reaching the second, and now up towards the final one. Yet again, no lifting whatsoever. Full confidence before chucking it into the left-hander here. Not lifting once again. Full send all the way now. Down into the hairpin here for the final corner. He's just got to make sure he keeps within track limits. And then it's pedal to the metal all the way down to the start-finish line. Burning the battery. Is he going to find the improvement he needs? 2 tenths exactly up into P5. Could that be FBR through?
Well, Josh, Marcel is up by 2 tenths in the middle sector alone. TAS now looking to jump ahead of FVR. Marcel Berger to line goes third with a 20.250, and that might be it here for TAS. What can Tope do? Doesn't improve. What can Ben do? Improves to a 20.154, and I just think TAS might have got through to E-Series Season 4 here, Josh.
No way! That is ridiculous.
Well,
I'm lost for words.
I'm shaking. I'm actually shaking.
That was brilliant.
And well, TAS have knocked out TF10.
Oh, some words are going to be had in the manager's chat. I can tell you that much. But my word, Ben Marples, Marcel Biega, take a bow. Fantastic lap times, getting you just through by the skin of your teeth fantastic stuff all round here from every single team qualifying. But my word, can you call it any better than that one, Mr. Richards?
Yeah. What on earth was that? Towards the line, you didn't have a clue who was going to take it. And TES, I'd say pretty much out of nowhere. The first 2 laps, they looked decent. They wasn't looking the strongest. And they pull out with a 0.2 and a 0.1. That surely is enough for them, I think, to be qualified through in towards their 3rd season of PSGL E-Series. But I'm just going to have a look at the spreadsheet that Connor made so we can confirm which teams are through. But I think there is fate here for TF10. I don't think they made it through, and they haven't. TF10 have not made it through to PSGL E-Series. Veloce, the quickest. TES second. Tassum third. And FVR will be the reserve team for this championship. So, yeah. The big news. TF10. They did it season 1. They did it season 2. They did it in season 3. But season 4... they won't make it through. I mean, it's a big shame. A big, big shame because they are one of the teams that have always been at the top. They've always been one of the best, if not the best community team, and they are 4th.
And it just goes to show the levels of evolution that has happened so rapidly. I mean, even since I've decided to join more of a commentary side in the sim race, I've been here for about just over a year and a half as well. And you can see the evolution that these teams are making, the drivers are making. They're going out their way, they're having healthy regimes, they're doing more practice, they're taking it more seriously. The engineers as well, constantly doing different mental sort of exercises to think better, to be more equipped, trying different setups, doing everything possible to try and gain an advantage. And you see it right there with these teams being able to make steps forward and be able to close up on a couple of the older, more legacy-based teams with the likes of ABS, NLR, again, another example. And then, of course, TF10 is a huge, huge upset. But you've got to give credit where credit is deserved. Tatum, TES, Veloce Academy, all very well deserve their spot here at the E-Series grid. Fantastic stuff from all 3 of them.
Definitely. And we've seen 16 teams tonight try and qualify. Only 3 made it through, of course, with 1 reserve. And the game sounds playing. We'll quit the main menu and then we'll continue talking in silence. So, of course, 3 made it through. 1 made it through as a reserve. Of course, they will take that spot if one of the other teams were to drop out. But, of course, Veloce Academy ahead of TES, ahead of Tassum Racing Team. So now we can confirm the 10 teams racing this championship. So, guys, get ready because we have got possibly the best grid ever.
Mate, it is. It's period. It is the best grid we've ever had in E-Series. Full stop. Done. No discussion.
We've talked through it before. We've talked through the esports teams, but we'll go through them again in case you did miss it. So, the 10 teams who are through to E-Series Season 4 are Ferrari Esports, Williams Esports, Race Clutch, McLaren Shadow, Aston Martin Esports, R8G, Red Bull Sim Racing, Tatum Racing Team, Veloci Academy, and TES Thomas Eng Sim Racing. What a grid. What a grid we've got this season, and I absolutely cannot wait, Josh. And yet again, Josh, show us what tracks they're going to be racing around.
Oh, mate, it's going to be fantastic, right? So, kicking off, you know, you think, right, they've just took Qatar. They've just exerted themselves so much. Yeah, no, we're going over Saudi Arabia, the Jeddah Kurdish circuit. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Of course, we saw the likes of Otis Lawrence race there last season, doing a fantastic job, pulling out all the stock, being able to get constant pressure onto the bigger, more notorious drivers, being able to cause a couple upsets here and there. Then we go over to Qatar, another fantastic circuit. It might not prove the best racing in real life, but when it comes to the games, we have never been let down by Qatar. They are always fantastic, interesting, and always down to the wire. Before we jump over to a lot more technical Monaco, a lot more slower paced, the specialists are going to come out. Those time trial merchants might just find themselves a home there at Monaco. Then we move over to Montreal or Canada. Again, another one of those slightly more technical, tricky circuits. Again, with this year's game, can certainly add a little bit more suave to it, let's say, with the DRS zones, the DRS training. It could be fantastic. Austria, again, another opportunity. Had fireworks there in real life. Could we potentially see fireworks here at E-Series? You never know at the end of the day. We've got Belgium straight after that, round 6. Again, another historic, traditional track. Could be very much down to a little bit of weather there as well. We know it likes to change a little bit before we go over to even more of what you could say is a more historical track. It's certainly got a little bit more of a legacy, and that, of course, is the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola. Certainly a fantastic circuit with the drivers trying to maximise here, there, and everywhere. Can be slightly difficult to overtake, but we've been proven wrong before there with some great overtakes, great battling happening all throughout the sessions. Then we move over to Silverstone. Again, another one of those tracks, remodeled, resurfaced, very fun to drive. A couple little quirks here and there that the drivers, I'm sure, are all aware of at this moment in time. But again, it'll just be one of those adapting to the circumstances they find themselves in to be able to produce the best results possible. Then Las Vegas had fireworks there last season. I just hope this season's going to be even better. And then, of course, rounding out at Bahrain, season finale, of course, should be fantastic stuff. Very technical circuit, loads of little intricacies you've kind of got to get used to and dial in to the setups as well. It should be an absolutely fantastic calendar. I just want to get started now, to be quite honest with you. Are the drivers ready? Because I certainly am.
I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. I know we've been here for the past 3.5 seasons, but I've never been so excited for a season as this season.
Mate, it's going to be cracking.
Absolutely brilliant. And it's not just because we've got 7 esports teams here. It's also because we've had drivers tonight fight to the death for these spots.
Well, not literally to the death.
Well,
Let's
not literally.
Just clarify.
4
all
teams.
the drivers are safe. Okay.
4 teams had the chance. 3 of them got, well, 5 teams technically because you include FVR. 5 teams had the chance, 3 made it through, and they all fought to the limit. It was a couple of tenths separating the top 5 teams in the qualifiers, and they're all at the top of their game. They're all looking to get all their drivers to, we've got some of the best drivers in the community going to be part of these community teams. We've got to also have some of the underdogs from those teams having their chance at racing against some of the best drivers on the F1 grid. On a whole, it's going to be brilliant. And of course, you've got to remember, these esports teams, they're also on par with each other. None of them are really quicker than each other. They're all at the top of their game. So the championship is going to be close. But we're also going to have, I believe the top community team also gets £100 as well. So the community teams are also fighting for their own little championship, as well as maybe fighting for the championship, depending how they got on. But I believe that is all from me and Josh here tonight. And
again, I feel like we should say as well, thank you, chat, for being active, interactive with us as well. Of course, it wouldn't be E-Series without you guys rooting along for your favourite teams. Maybe you're part of their community. Maybe you're just a fan of their F1 team. But without you guys, none of this would be possible. So thank you very much for joining us along. But overall, there's nothing too much more to say from myself.
Yeah. Well, next week we're back, aren't we? Saudi Arabia.
Cracking.
The Jeddah Corniche circuit is where we open up the season. So, guys, make sure to come back yet again, 7 p.m. next Friday, July the 26th, and we can get underway with what could be one of the best series of racing you've ever seen on the F1 game. So, guys, come back next week for the action. Until then, have a good week, and we'll see you then. Good night.
See you then. Another month. I've got a little handheld vacuum. Either one of them. If either one of them win, I'll get 300.
You joined your year late, Josh.